just yet, though. I would say that.
Oh, I agree. I wouldn't count them out, but when I look at 8A, it always looks like a class that you could probably see up to anywhere from 5 to 10 teams in the North or South that realistically have the ability to go out there and win their region and then win the title.
Well, I would say this right here, aside from 7A, I would say maybe 5A like that, 6A, and 8A. I think pretty much those three right there. 4A is predictable, 2A, 3A, all that's predictable. But 5A, 6A, and 8A, I would say those ones you're going to get the biggest competition in. 7A is going to come down to maybe, 3 teams?
3 to 4 teams probably.
3 to 4, yeah.
Another pretty good matchup, and this is American Heritage coming up to play Trinity Christian. I believe it is it Trinity, right?
Yeah, Trinity.
All right.
7:30 kickoff.
This is going to be a very interesting game. After last week, it's one of those games where it's so tough for me to try to pick against Trinity because of how they played against Venice, even though American Heritage probably would be very close to being the level of Venice. It's just tough to, but I'm going to have to lean American Heritage by 3 in this game.
And I would lean Trinity just because Trinity, they really need this game right here.
They definitely need this game.
A 1-3 start won't look good for those guys out at Trinity. And 2-3, although it's just one game, 2-2 sounds a whole lot better than 1-3. You feel me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and see the thing about Trinity is what you alluded to. They can really score. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like the amount of points that outside of the game against Columbia, they really been putting up points. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to pick against that amount of points. Is can they close the deal though? That's the only thing that I'm actually nervous about Trinity. But scoring, I feel they can score with the best of them.
Their problem though is while they can score against the best of them, they've also given up points against the best of them. It was 30.
Yeah, and that's kind of so it offsets it. I mean, you score 49, but you give up 50. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you had Trinity game, they gave up 38 points. Godby, even in the win, they gave up 42 points, and then they gave up 50 to Venice. That is not a good trend to be having.
Yeah. And then if you follow the trend, I mean, it's going up and up and up.
Oh, yeah, because they've been getting more points every week. They can't afford to be doing that.
38, 42, and 50. So that's not actually a good. Although offensively they climbing as well, but they hadn't hit the 50 point yet to offset it. So they still actually giving up a ton of points. And if they can just get that corrected, I mean, if you look at the game, I mean, it's a game of inches. I mean, Venice won, can't take nothing from them, nor should they apologize for a win. But it's truly a game of inches, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Couple questionable calls. But Venice earned it, though, nonetheless.
And the last of the major Jacksonville games, this one I'm sure will definitely heat up discussions big time. Reigns versus Lee.
Big deal right there, you feel me? Saturday, 2 o'clock matchup. Not sure if I will be able to attend it because, I'm big on the youth football circuit on Saturdays, and I have a lot going on in that arena. So I may personally miss it. I may try to get up by the fourth quarter, but yes, that's going to be the biggest game since the biggest game, you feel me? Because, Lee won the last 2 years. Reigns had won the previous 2 years before that, so the last 4 matchups, they split down the middle, 2-2, and with, of course, Lee winning the last 2. And the last 2 matchups have been, technically the last 3 have been like either 4 points or less, because the last one Reigns won was by 4 points, and then I think Lee won by 4, and then I think they might have won by 1 last year. So they've been close, epic games. Both quarterbacks relatively inexperienced, although Range got the older quarterback in Adrian Williams. He's pretty much relatively inexperienced playing time wise, and Lee got the young quarterback, Kel Zera. He's a 10th grader, really young, and with that being said, it's gonna make for a great game, though. You feel me?
What has been the deal though with Lee? Because when I saw him against Bartram, this on their sophomore basically barely played in the game. They were going Wildcat for most of the game with that slot receiver.
Yeah, with Kobe, they went. I don't know what was up with that. They went slot receiver with Kobe for a major part of the game, and it actually bear fruit. They actually was able to get a couple scores out of it. I believe he threw a pick six towards the end, though. So I don't know. I didn't actually get a chance to see them when they played West Nassau last week. I know they won, though. So I didn't get a chance to see, what they got clicking on offense. But just from what I know, with Kel, he may be the starter, though. But they could go to that package with Kobe being in the Wildcat. And it's going to be really interesting because, Kobe used to play for Range.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Kobe used to play for Range. He actually played for Range last year.
When it comes, this game, I'm guessing there's going to be heavy security measures taken after the past 2 years.
Extreme security measures going to be taken. You could even go back and say the last 3 years, because the last 3 years they had some crazy incident where the grill fell over and everybody thought it was a gunshot, and a whole bunch of people got trampled, and it was all crazy. Then 2 years ago, it was kind of the same deal at Lee. And then last year, of course, the incident happened. But, the security measures is going to be, really crazy, though. And I advise anybody that's going to attend that game, man, just take that into consideration that it's going to be extreme security measures out there. You should probably get there at least 30 minutes earlier than what you was already planning on getting them.
And I can't blame them for having to take extreme measures. Safety's got to come before everything else.
Yeah, safety's got to come before everything else. But my honest opinion on it, because I was at the last 4 games, my honest opinion on it is that aside from the grill incident, and if you lump the Terry Parker incident into it as well, to me, the common denominator was kids or whoever, not sure if they was all kids, grown people, whoever, just hanging around. You feel me? I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to just post up and hang around these type of events. And then if you look at all the events and the things that took place, they took place outside of the actual playing area, and they involved people that was just allowed to stand and post up and hang around. You feel me? So if the security they had then would just patrol the area, you know what I'm saying, make the people go home, and you can't, stop crime, but of course you could try your best to keep it off campus and keep the environment safe. You feel me?
Yeah.
And not to put nobody on the spot, but I just feel like that wasn't done if you just look at all the incidents involved. You know what I'm saying? And say, well, what was the common denominator? How did they happen? And what did happen? And there you go. That's just my take on it.
I did notice it felt like all these incidents, they were never happening in the school or at the stadium. It's happening in the parking lot or the local neighborhood. So if anything, they should have had just increased the police presence on the outskirts of the stadium if they wanted to prevent this.
That as well, but you can't allow people that's not patronizing the actual product to just hang and stand around. You know what I'm saying? You got to leave or go home.
I hear you on that.
So, yeah, you can't just come up here and just hang around, because now we got 100 people hanging around. We don't know if y'all armed or not. somebody get in an argument, gun get pulled out, shots fired, and then now they want to, you know what I'm saying? That could have been prevented. Police could have just rolled up, shined this light on them and said, hey, y'all got to leave right now. Or you're going to jail. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Your choice. Go home or go to jail.
That's hopefully they'll start taking like those measures more seriously after all these past incidents have happened.
Well, see, the thing is, you know, we off topic a little bit here, but the thing is, they reactionary instead of they more, you know, reactive instead of being proactive. Had they just been telling people just to go home and get out of here, you know what I'm saying? That's being proactive. Now you don't have to be reactive. And then when you be reactive, now you come with all these harsh and crazy measures because you're trying to be politically correct and you're just trying to do something just to say you did something. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, instead of just being proactive and going and telling the people to leave and go home, you feel me? Because just think about this there now. It was a police presence already at every game. Every game it was an incident, it was police there. So that means that a police presence doesn't necessarily negate crime, but police actively on the mission to prevent crime prevents crime. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just the police having cars parked, just standing around talking, not paying attention to nothing. Nah, that's a presence. They there, they cars parked. You see them there, but people still, all these shootings happen in relatively close proximity to a police officer. You feel me?
Yeah, I got you. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, this actually would probably be something we could always come back to, like in a future topic. But we probably should get ourselves moving back into these games.
Yes, sir. That's why I said we was kind of off the tracks a little bit. But yeah, that's just my take on that, though.
But it was a good to hit on it a little bit.
Yes, sir.
That was basically all the North Florida games that I had down. Here's a Clearwater versus Largo. This will probably decide the district championship in that district. I'm gonna lean Clearwater probably by about 14 in this game.
If you say about 14, I have to lean. That's a true pick 'em there. I have to say by lead. Well, not just by score, but I have to just go with Clearwater on that.
All right.
Definitely, if you say.
And by the way, for Eric Clark, if you're listening, you're welcome for the Clearwater pick. Lake Gibson versus Auburndale. Two undefeated Polk County teams. Both of them, I believe they're 6A Region 3. And I believe this is a district game. I'll have to double check that afterwards. But I know these two are they look pretty good so far this season.
Yeah, and I'm pretty familiar with Auburndale, not so much Lake Gibson. So if I would have to pick, I would go on the limb and say Auburndale in that one.
This one's a tough one. I ended up on Florida High School football. I ended up picking Lake Gibson, but I would not be surprised if Auburndale won. I guess I'll just I'll stick with Lake Gibson in a close one. But considering how some of my picks have went so far this year, I might end up coming back 11 o'clock at night and seeing Auburndale completely made me look like an idiot.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Three pretty good South Florida games I saw. Columbus versus Miami, Washington. Both of these teams, Miami, Washington, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, they lost a very close one to Miami Central, and Columbus lost to South Dana, a close one this past week. I'm going to lean Columbus getting the bounce back in this game. I would say Columbus by a touchdown.
And when you say Miami, Washington, you mean Booker T. Washington or?
Yeah.
Booker T?
Yeah.
Yeah. I pick Columbus, and then I would probably say Columbus will probably beat Booker T by more than a touchdown. At least be a double-digit win for Columbus.
Okay. Alrighty. An out-of-state game. Deerfield Beach will be going to the Battle of the Border to play Zachary from Louisiana, who has won several state titles in the past few years over in Louisiana.
Yeah, I ain't heard much about that.
Deerfield Beach, they've struggled early on so far. They lost that opener on ESPN to Carroll City. Then they went up to St. John's in Maryland and pretty much got hammered by them. They made it close